Oh, you back, Kamla? And how? And how? The first thing I want to do today is ask you whether or not you recognize the question 用中文怎么说 blah blah blah. My guess is that you do. You know what question that question is asking, if that makes any sense. You may or may not remember that 用 means use, that 中文 means Chinese, that 怎么 means how, and that 说 means speak. It's all totally okay. Good language learners, good language teachers these days realize that you need to hear a word or an expression or a sentence dozens and dozens of times in context before you really become comfortable with them. The human brain, I think, has a particular genius, and that's for language learning, but you do have to cooperate with the way that the human mind actually functions with regard to language learning. And the way that it functions is that you see a word or hear a word used in context and understand what it means, and you do this a lot of times, and then gradually you develop the confidence to use it yourself. That's it. And my job is to make sure that everything I teach you is recycled, so I will definitely do that. So let's pretend for an instant that you're talking to a Chinese person and you want to know the word for tone in Chinese. So you go to him and you say, see if you can guess this. 用中文怎么说 tone. And the native speaker of Chinese is going to say 声调. It's nice of him to do that. But what he won't do is he won't indicate the tones. So what you actually have to do is you have to use that word and say 声调, 声调. And it's good if you can look sort of confused. You don't know if it's a first tone. Is it 香, which it actually is, or is it 响, a 2, or is it 响, or is it 像, or is it 上? Could be any one of those 5. Native speakers of English are not accustomed to being so sensitive to tone, so at the outset, you just don't hear them very well, and it really, really helps since you can't hear them, that you can see them. So one of the first things that you want to do is get your teacher or your friend into the habit of indicating the tone every time. So hopefully what's going to happen is you're going to say to him, 用中文怎么说 tone, and they're going to say 声调, 声调. Really difficult to train them to do this because for them the tone is so obvious. I think that they really can't imagine that there's anybody that couldn't just hear it. So they can't get into the habit of indicating the tone. That's unfortunate. Maybe if you paid them, it would be easier. So let's imagine you wanted to learn the word tone, and you said 用中文怎么说 tone, and they go 声调. This is a perfect world. They do exactly what you hope that they'll do. But as we've discovered so far, I think one instance of hearing a word isn't enough. So the next one that you need is again, one time. Again, one time. And then if you say to them again one time, then they're going to say 声调. We're here to learn how to say it in Chinese, though. So here it is. Again. 再. 再. One. Sometimes it's easy to think of a gesture that represents the meaning, and this is one of those instances. But the word one in this context is second tone. 一 yi. So again, one is 在 yi, and time is 次. Don't make the assumption that words that are homonyms in English are going to be homonyms in another language. In English, you can use the word time to represent time, like time when. And you can also use the word time to say, oh, do it 2 more times. But to mean a single occurrence of an action, the word is 次. So again, one time is 在 yi 次 在 yi 次. This is a minority opinion, but for me, language is music. And the most natural thing that you can do with music is dance to it. So for me, it's perfectly natural to associate a sort of an exaggerated gesture with each one of the tones. And I'm exaggerating the tones as I speak them as well. This one, again, one time is 在 yi 次. This is a good habit to be in as you're learning a word. But to hear it pronounced normally, it's 在 yi 次. So in normal use, you have to remember that it's a lot more subtle. I think that's pretty good for today. Again, one time is 在 yi 次. Maybe I'll just review one bit. 用中文怎么说 tone. Do you remember? Probably not. 声调 声调. And if you want to hear it again, you have to say 再一次, and the person will say 声调, and you'll say 再一次, and the person will say 声调. 声调 is tone. The again one time is the same. 在 is again, 在 is again, and that's the word that you learned also in the expression 再见, because 再见, if you do it word for word translations, the 再 means again, and 见 means meet. So when you say goodbye, you say again, meet. But in Chinese sounds like 再见, 再见 means see you again. That's a pretty good class for today, I think. 再见.